This is JTK, aka Gabby here, bringing you Game 2 of the finals from the 108th Weekly Team Magma Tournament. In Game 1, it was really close, came down to a one-turn sleep, and a critical hit actually from a Brave Bird also made I think, a big difference. So Game 1, Mikasa, aka Lithium, Acid, aka Adit, leaned heavily on the not rain side of his team. Not sure if he's going to do that again. We saw a Mawile Talonflame lead first game, which is certainly interesting. Knowing that, I kind of want to lean a little more heavily on the Intimidate part of my team and try leading with Salamence and Azumarill with Venusaur and Rotom in the back. I know bringing Rotom into a rain team isn't the smartest idea in the world, but knowing that I can live one of the Scalds in rain and almost get and do about half damage with that Thunderbolt is good enough for me. I do outspeed. I can stop him fairly easily, I think, as long as he doesn't bring Ludicolo, so he leads Manectric Ludicolo here. Again, not too concerned. We're looking at a Fake Out to Salamence, probably, and either HP Ice or Thunderbolt for that Manectric. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I have Venusaur, Rotom-H in the back. I think this is the perfect time to bring Rotom-H out. Knowing that I'm either going to take that Thunderbolt and be happy about it, or lose Salamence here, at which point I can bring in Venusaur next turn. Unfortunately, Salamence isn't always the greatest lead, especially on this team. I think that it's great for Intimidate, but there's just so many special Pokemon in the meta now. Fake Out does indeed go to Salamence, gets a crit, not going to matter too much. Volt Switch to my Rotom-H, which does nothing because of that Intimidate, and because of that Resistance, and now he's probably going to send out what I can only imagine is that Politoed that we saw last game, and indeed it is. So here's where things get a little bit tricky. I don't want to switch in Venusaur for anything really, because it could have to deal with a lot of damage. We know that Ludicolo is probably faster than my Salamence now because it's in rain and it probably has Swift Swim. I'd like to bring Azumarill back, but I feel like that's an obvious switch. I don't know if he would prioritize KOing Azumarill over Salamence, though, coming to think of it, his team has plenty to deal with Azumarill in the form of that, Manectric. So I'm going to go ahead and Thunderbolt that Politoed, bring it down half health, and send in my Azumarill to hopefully eat that Ice Beam that is most likely coming Salamence's way. Ludicolo goes for Scald onto Rotom, most likely, and that definitely gets a KO. Yeah, there was no hope in that one. Politoed uses Ice Beam, which Azumarill will happily just ignore, as long as it doesn't get frozen, which it doesn't, thank God. And at least now I am free to switch in my Venusaur, who isn't really afraid of anything on the field right now. Ludicolo will probably die to 2 Sludge Bombs if I had to guess. So I'm going to go ahead and attack it with that. I'm going to protect on Azumarill because I don't want that Giga Drain. I really don't want that Giga Drain. Calls that, switches out Ludicolo, probably for Manectric. Indeed, switches it out for Manectric. That Sludge Bomb will now do about half, but in the rain, I think that my Aqua Jet has a chance to KO. It depends on this damage roll that's coming up. Not 100% positive. I don't like to be 100% positive about anything in Pokemon, really, but we'll see. Alright, so Sludge Bomb connects with that Manectric will do about half. Scald connects with my Venusaur will do basically nothing. No burn that turn, which I'm okay with. Going for the Aqua Jet going for the Sleep Powder on Politoed. If I have any hope of winning this at this point, I need to stop him from attacking, at least for a little bit. Aqua Jet does not get the KO. Unfortunately, Volt Switch will connect, will not KO. Will trigger my Citrus. Probably sending in Ludicolo again, if I had to guess. Not sure what his fourth is. It might be that Hydreigon. Specs Hydreigon certainly is powerful. And it is indeed the Hydreigon. So he's probably hoping that next turn he can Dark Pulse that Azumarill and not have to deal with it anymore. Knowing that Politoed is asleep, knowing that Hydreigon's probably going to go for a Dark Pulse, it's very tempting to bring Salamence back in here. That being said, if I call that wrong, he could Draco into Azumarill, but if I wouldn't, if I were him, I think that's too risky of a play. I'm going to try and put Hydreigon to sleep though, so next turn I can be free to Draco Meteor it and probably take it out. So Salamence comes in, Intimidate doesn't really make a difference. Both of these guys are special attackers. Hydreigon does go for Dark Pulse onto Salamence. Oof, almost KO'd, which could be trouble if Politoed wakes up here. Fingers crossed I'll get one more turn of sleep. I do get that one more turn of sleep. This is already turning out a little better than last match. And the rain stops too, meaning that Politoed is probably going to switch out this turn. Hydreigon's also probably going to switch out. I don't know if I'd stick in knowing that I was guaranteed one turn of sleep and that there's probably a nice Draco Meteor coming my way. Unless it's holding Habanberry, which I don't think he is. So he does indeed switch into Manectric. As long as that Draco hits, it'll at least get the KO, which is great. Politoed, will it switch to? Politoed does not switch, which means it probably tried to Ice Beam or something that Salamence to get a little bit more chip damage on it. For now, I'm just happy to be doing damage and bringing this game to 3-3, which is pretty good. Sludge Bomb should do a little bit to Politoed. Crits does a lot of bit to Politoed, and that Politoed is still fast asleep. So, probably gonna bring Ludicolo back in here. Nope, it sent in Hydreigon. It switched out before its mandatory sleep last turn, which means it's definitely gonna stay asleep this turn. My Venusaur isn't afraid of that Politoed. Hydreigon is the real threat right now, so I'm gonna dogpile it, knowing that Draco probably won't KO now that it's at -2, but should hopefully put it into Sludge Bomb KO range. And indeed it does. So Hydreigon stays asleep, Sludge Bomb will connect and will KO. Indeed does KO, bringing this to 3-2. Politoed's probably going to wake up this turn and use Ice Beam on that Salamence, and bringing the game to 2-2, my Azumarill versus his Ludicolo, and his Politoed versus my Venusaur. The good news is that he doesn't have rain anymore, which limits his options significantly. The bad news is that Azumarill is pretty much just Giga Drain fodder at this point for that Ludicolo. Ludicolo obviously being the real threat at this point, does no Fake Out, not sure what he's going to do, don't really want to play the... Actually, you know what? Thinking that he's going to Fake Out my Venusaur... screw it. So, he does Fake Out, I decided to double attack, wouldn't have made much of a difference, HP-wise, at least. Scald connects with Azumarill is not going to do damage. More worried about that burn. Does not happen. Flare Up does connect with Politoed for the KO. It is now 2-on-1, and it looks like we're going to get to a Game 3. let's see. Sludge Bomb, thankfully, is just Ludicolo's worst enemy. I could have protected there to stop that Giga Drain, but honestly, he just wasted HP that he could have taken a few turns from now to possibly turn things around. I think I would have attacked Venusaur there, honestly. Sludge Bomb does over half, meaning that this, as long as this next Sludge Bomb connects, it is game. Goes for Ice Beam, probably hoping for a Freeze to try and hack out a win. Freeze... oh crap. Freeze does happen. Well, this is unfortunate. For those of you who don't know, freeze mechanics, you have a 25% chance of thawing out every turn. I need to thaw out at some point to win this match. If I don't thaw out, then I lose. Pretty upset, but unfortunately this is part of the game. It happens. It's like a 10% chance. Gets a crit there, which does not help me, and I'm still frozen, so that's a good game. Little bit upset about the hacks, but that's just what happens when you play. It's frustrating knowing that you can play a game right and still lose, but that's part of the reason why you play. Sometimes you're on the good side of hacks, sometimes you're on the bad side. Anyway, that's it for me today. I will talk to you all later. Have a good one.